be a woman and step up.
I can't do it. I have to tell you the truth.
I think you're making a big mistake.
I perhaps could still make it happen. That will be the beginning of the end of their relationship.
I know you're used to getting your way, but not this time.
General Hospital latest update. Tracy stuns everyone by trashing Drew at his press conference, refusing to call him a quartermain and accusing him of framing her. Meanwhile, Michael reels as Willow reveals plans to marry Drew to regain custody. Tensions explode across Port Charles, with Carly, Nina, and Trina all caught in emotional crossfire. Tracy blows up Drew's press conference, and Michael learns of Willow's wedding plans. Today on General Hospital, Kai tells Trina that he's taken a job with Drew. Isaiah tries to cheer up Portia and only makes the situation worse. And Nina tries to convince Carly to get Michael to let Willow see her kids. On the Metro Court patio, Carly talks with Michael about Daisy's christening, but Michael appears distracted. She calls him out for being somewhere else. Michael can't help but feel it is cruel to Willow that he's hosting this celebration for a new family member. He worries he's rubbing her face in the fact that she lost everything. Carly tells him he's a good man, but he has a new baby and that is something to celebrate. She says he also shouldn't feel guilty as he didn't do anything wrong, and the judge made her decision. Michael wants Willow to be a mom to their kids again, but Drew is the problem. Carly says Drew is family, which is the most sickening part in all of this. Michael says that Drew using Wiley was a despicable move. Carly notes Willow seems blind to Drew, but Michael vows that will change. Michael says if there is any chance of Willow seeing her kids again, he needs to get rid of Drew. He thinks that if he can force her to see that she lost her kids because of Drew, then she might walk away from him. Nina tries to convince Willow to wait. At the pool, Nina is stunned by the news that Willow is marrying Drew right after divorcing Michael. Willow insists this is how she'll get her kids back. Willow explains that if they present themselves as a legally married and stable couple, the judge will give her generous visitation rights. Nina worries the judge may see this as a tactic, and the judge will think she's only marrying Drew to work the system. She also points out that the judge doesn't want to see her making reckless decisions. Willow says Martin suggested this, but Nina doesn't think it means she needs to marry Drew right away. Nina tells Willow not to elope or have a quick wedding, but have a real wedding so the judge knows it's real and not a marriage of convenience. Jordan and Curtis relive their past. Jordan runs into Curtis and they chat. Jordan reveals that with her new job and salary, she is upgrading her living situation and moving. They take a trip down memory lane and recall a stakeout case they worked on in Baltimore in the blazing summer heat. Jordan remembers them celebrating by the waterfront after they caught the guy, and it was the best feeling ever. Curtis agrees. Martin gives Drew good news. Martin meets Drew in his office and tells him that Tracy has caved and they have her where they want her. Drew says this is the second best thing to happen today, the first being Willow agreeing to marry him. Martin says it's a smart strategy, but Drew says he also loves Willow, so it's not just a strategy. Soon they'll be sharing the same last name. Quartermain. Tracy has misgivings. At the Quartermain mansion, Tracy tells Brooke Lynn about Drew's offer to make the ketamine charges go away, and she has to decide if she will give in and read his statement. Brooke Lynn doesn't see what the problem is. Tracy says her pride wants her to go to court and fight these ridiculous charges. Brooke Lynn thinks Tracy could lose given she already tried to frame Alexis for drunk driving once, so she might need to suck it up and take Drew's offer. Brooke Lynn tells Tracy that if the Quartermain name is what Drew needs, then give it to him. It doesn't make him a Quartermain and they'll never accept him as one. Tracy decides to proceed with the conference and Brooke Lynn insists on going with her. Trina's shaken by Kai's news. Kai stops by the gallery to see Trina and tells her he accepts Drew's internship. He explains he'll be working for Drew from his office in Port Charles, so he won't be relocating to DC. Trina is happy that he's staying in Port Charles, but he wonders how she feels about the job. Trina admits she doesn't trust Drew and working with him is a mistake. Kai knows her parents have issues with Drew, but he's been nothing but good to him. Drew is giving him a chance to get into politics on a national level. He's interested in seeing where this goes and he just hopes this won't come between them. He also says perhaps Drew will give him a reason not to like him, but he has to learn that himself. He gets Paige to attend a press conference and says he'll call her later. She kisses him and says she doesn't have to agree with him to be on his side and he's got this. Isaiah gives Portia a show. At the hospital, Portia sits in the locker room and is sore from long hours. Isaiah appears in a towel and says he's sorry and thought he was alone in here. She says it's fine, she's just had a 16-hour shift. She's trying to work up the energy to go home but she can't find it. As Isaiah dresses, he asks why the co-chief of staff is working such a long shift. She explains she filled in for Dr. Park and admits she's been avoiding going home. Isaiah suggests she find a way not to think about work or home. Isaiah calls her a superstar, but she's no good to the patients or staff if she runs herself into the ground. He says she needs to have fun. Portia has no idea what that is anymore, so Isaiah says they will change that. He says it is a beautiful day and they will have some fun. Isaiah's not so great idea. Back at the pool, Curtis and Jordan note how that stakeout was a long time ago, and they have come a long way individually and in their careers. Portia and Isaiah show up and Curtis gets a call from Trina. She's at the gallery and asks him to come by. Curtis takes off, leaving Jordan to relax on her own. Portia rants to Isaiah about Jordan and Curtis' behavior, which she doesn't think is proper, especially in public. Isaiah admits he's not impartial as he and Jordan used to date. Portia and Isaiah grab a table, and Isaiah thinks this situation is adding to her stress and they should go. Portia won't be run off, and notes Curtis didn't even notice she was here before he left, so something else more important must be on his mind. Across the pool, Willow understands what her mother is saying, but this may be the only way to get her kids back. Nina again urges her not to rush into this and they can plan this wedding together. Willow says she'll think about waiting. Willow says she needs to go and walks off like a zombie. On the Metro Court patio, Carly asks Michael if he will keep Willow and Drew out of his children's lives for good. Michael says Drew will never be a part of his children's lives, but he wants Willow to be. Michael takes off. Later, when Carly is alone, Nina grabs her and warns her that if she doesn't get through to Michael, Willow will marry Drew. Across town, Willow goes to the Quartermaines to see Michael. He tells her the kids are out with Yuri. She knows and she came to see him. The press conference will begin momentarily. Tracy and Brooklyn arrive at City Hall, where Chase is waiting for them for additional support. Martin appears with the script that Tracy is to read. He then introduces the topic of the press conference to those in attendance and says it will begin shortly. Brooklyn vents to Chase that Drew framed her grandmother, and that she'd never let herself be caught if she really committed the crime. Meanwhile, Drew gloats to Tracy that it didn't have to come to this, but now that the shoe is on the other foot, it proves he's a real Quartermaine. Tracy mumbles, "Think again," to herself. Drew spots Kai and is glad he is here. He tells Kai that after today he and Tracy can put this ketamine nonsense behind them, and he'll have the Quartermaine name back. Kai flashes to overhearing Curtis mentioning finding Jacinda and paying her to say Drew took the ketamine willingly. In the show's final moments, Curtis arrives at the gallery and asks Trina what is wrong. She tells him that Kai has accepted a position as Drew's intern. Curtis tells her not to let the tension between him and Drew affect her and Kai, who seems like a good guy. Trina knows her dad is trying to find the escort, but how does that protect her mom? She needs to know what trouble her mom is in. At the pool, Portia tells Isaiah that you can't fix a situation until you know what you are dealing with. Isaiah gets a call he has to take and steps away. Portia takes the opportunity to see Jordan, and she snaps that Jordan must be exhausted from entertaining her husband all afternoon. On the Metro Court patio, Carly tells Nina that she feels awful for Willow, but there is nothing she can do. Nina says that eventually Willow will get visitation, and they can't let Drew be an influence on those children. She knows she can pry Willow away from Drew if she can see her kids. She tells Carly it's in all their best interests if Michael lets Willow see her kids now rather than later. At the mansion, Willow admits to Michael that she never expected to lose custody, and she doesn't want to have to go through that again. She says they need to set a good example for Wiley and Amelia. and they have to be better to one another. Michael agrees. Willow wants to be fully transparent with him and tells him she and Drew are getting married. At the press conference, Drew opens by stating everyone knows the Quartermaines are a contentious group, and they have decided not to clog up the courts and waste the taxpayers' money with what is a family dispute. So they will be settling this dispute in-house, and he has encouraged the PCPD to drop the charges against his aunt. He says his Aunt Tracy would like to address them now. Tracy steps up to the podium and begins reading the prepared remarks. However, she fumbles and cannot call Drew by the name Quartermaine. She says she can't do this. She tells everyone that Drew doesn't deserve the Quartermaine name. He did drugs and then framed her, and he should be thrown out of office the same way Monica threw him out of the family home. On the next General Hospital, Tracy tells the truth at Drew's press conference. Jordan tells Portia to be a woman and step up. Trina tells Curtis that she thinks he's making a big mistake. Lucy meets with Marco and Jens and says she could still make it happen. Nina warns Carly that will be the beginning of the end of their relationship. Willow tells Michael, "I know you are used to getting your way, but not this time." Thanks for watching this videos.